This is iRacing.
The season is over, the championship is wrapped, and the holidays are in full swing. That leaves only one thing to do, and that's hold a non-championship race. Time to let your hair down as we get ready to watch a bonus race of the Porsche Owners Club Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Alex Goldschmidt. Behind the scenes is our director, Christian Duploy. Alex, this is a newer track, of course, here on the sim, but also pretty new in real life. So why don't you give us a little rundown of this place?
Yes, hello everybody and welcome along to the Miami International Autodrome. First opened back in May of 2022, surrounding the Hard Rock Stadium, which is actually the home of the NFL's Miami Dolphins. This circuit measures just 3.36 miles, hosted the inaugural F1 Miami Grand Prix back in 2023. It has also seen Porsche Carrera Cup North America action over the last 3 seasons. It's 19 turns, and obviously we're going to have a very, very long bit of overtaking opportunities because our drivers tonight are not just on a new track, new to season 1 of 2026 for iRacing, but we've got a brand new car that everyone is driving tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of a delving into the unknown for everybody, so should be pretty fun. But today's race is also going to be races, we should say, within
Yes.
a little bit of a different format, as you can see here. It says 15 minutes, but that is for the first race. Of course, they'll have a second one after that, where they will reverse the grid. I believe it is 25 minutes, but we'll double check on that, make sure I'm giving correct information. There we go. Got confirmation in the background that is correct. As we said, the 911 Cup is what it should say there, with the 992.2, which is the latest one that's going to go racing in real life as well. Here in 2026. Going to be a standing start. That is also going to be a little bit different. We'll see how the drivers fare on that end. But the good news is, with it being a fun race, Alex, they have unlimited spare cars.
Yeah, I mean, this is the latest car to jump on board with the iRacing service. Of course, it's already been in competition in real life with Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East, run by the two brothers, Walter and Robert Lechner, who also run the Central Europe Porsche Sprint Challenge as well. And it's great because we've got a new car. I mean, it's slightly heavier, but we're going to get underway with our first of 2 races, 15 minutes from a standing start, and the drivers will, more to the point, have launch control.
Exactly. So our starting order sees Dylan Scott on the pole for this one, Michael Bolton in P2 with BJ Fulton in 3rd. Jad Duncan starts 4th today, followed by Federico Del Toro in 5th. Robert Leclerc will be P6, followed by Chris Marciniak in 7th. Mark Rondeau starts from 8th, and then row 5 sees John Momeyer in 9th and Larry Haas in 10th. 2 more drivers here today for the bonus round, and that's going to be Jim Garamani in 11th and Dustin Heindel in 12th. As for today's weather, it is pretty ideal at 80 Fahrenheit track temperature. Not something you're probably going to see all that often on the pavement of Miami.
No, but you've also got a lot of humidity, 82%. But more to the point, we've got a bit of a southeasterly wind. It's going to be 14 miles an hour. But with these cars, the 992.2 Cup cars, they've gone like green already, and a good start already by Michael Bolton. who's quite literally bolting his way down to T1 as hard the brakes into this first corner. Remember the first time the Porsche Carrera Cup North America went here, they were full wide in race 1 at turn 1 as everyone's trying to jockey for position.
Yeah, it was a bad start for Dylan Scott, though. He's gone from the pole down to third. He was as far as 4th, but he's squeaked his way past Chad Duncan. But they're already working their way through the S's section here on the first portion of the lap. This is going to be difficult for these cars. A lot of high-speed sweeping turns.
Yeah, and also with the fact that these new cars, they have now ABS and traction control and a bit of contact. That is, I think, Dustin Heindel that's just gone for a little bit of a spin. He was running P8. He's now dropped to the back end of the field. So Dustin had already made up good ground as we're seeing Rob Leclerc going toe-to-toe with John Mamea, rounding out the top 7 as our GT4 2025 champion Chris Marciniak trying to go through on Marc Rondeau.
Looks like that is not going to work this time under braking down into turn, I believe, I'm still getting used to these. That is turn 11, it looks like, at the end of the back straightaway. Then it works into the very tight and technical, slower section that leads you onto the back stretch. And this is where you need, some of that traction control. Somebody certainly needed it, and they're going to have a poor exit.
That's always the thing. I mean, with the traction control, it gives you straight away understeer if you try and, if the back end gets a little bit loose through the corners as they're going down the back stretch. This is between turns 16 and 17 when the cars will be hitting about 160 plus miles an hour. So John Mamea losing a position as Rob Leclerc's got 2 for the price of 1 as it's 3 wide coming out of turn 17 as they head into the infield section once again.
Back to Marc Rondeau, side-by-side action between himself and Garamani. Garamani on the outside in the green and red machine, a little bit deeper braking for Rondeau, and somebody has gone around, Larry Haas, with yet more problems. He's going to get caught by Dustin Heindel, and those two are now going to be fighting for last before Larry Haas has a meeting with the wall.
Yeah, especially with that left rear quarter panel taking the brunt of it, especially with the upright and the suspension. But BJ Fulton running in that traditional livery that we normally customarily see him in with the martini stripes. He's closing down that gap to Michael Bolton, and the gap is around about 7.5 tenths of a second. Dylan Scott running with a slightly different livery to what we normally see from the man from Australia, now based over in North America these days. A bit of a hexagonal sort of like split in between the white and the black on that 08 car, him being the 2025 series champion. We've got a replay coming up very shortly of what's just happened. Now this is Larry Haas diving to the inside, and there's the contact between him. Well, that's the contact that he receives. I think that might have been from John Mamea in the number 6.
You are correct. So he's the one that kind of turned him around a little bit there. Again, there's nothing on the line other than some pride and maybe getting used to this new car for next season. So drivers will have to hash it out between each other. As I can imagine, we'll see penalties arise out of this one. Dylan Scott still trying to get up into the top 2. Is now working on BJ Fulton. Something happened to Rondeau. Looks like maybe a little bit too much curb at some point, and the rear just slipped out from under him.
And the back end of the car takes a bit of a smack against the wall. I mean, even traction control can only give you so much purchase on the circuit, but Dylan Scott at the moment trying to close on him, and he's just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 1:56.218. And for those Porsche Carrera Cup North America aficionados out there, the lap time set by Riley Dickinson back in 2023 at this circuit was a 1:56.693, and Dylan Scott has just put in a 1:56.218. So even though these cars are about 30 kilos heavier, the traction and the ABS really helps to give the drivers a lot more confidence, especially with those new drivers coming onto the iRacing service.
Absolutely. And I've had the joy of actually sharing the booth with Riley a few times over the years, and definitely a very fun young man to be around, but also incredibly quick. So that tells you what all that technology in this new car can do. So Dylan Scott coming up on BJ Fulton, looking around the outside, coming up into turn 11. Heavy braking zone, could be a place to pass, but they're about even as they enter the corner, and BJ Fulton will maybe hold him off. Whoa, things getting squirrely coming through the left-hander, but then it is a long 180-degree right-hand turn, which feeds Dylan right back into the fight, but eventually he has to give it up.
Yeah, and then you've got the slight bump over the curbs as we just saw BJ Fulton get some air and Dylan Scott round the outside there side by side, and Scott glances the barriers coming out of T14 with the right rear quarter panel on his Porsche, so that puts him on the back foot, so to speak, but then it's going to be this long run all the way down from turn 16 into turn 17, and as you can see by the indicated telemetry, 165 and nearly at 170 miles an hour from these flat six naturally aspirated 4-litre boxer engines, producing around about 512 brake horsepower, or 520 PS as the Germans would say. But again, you could just see the run that Dylan's getting out of this out of turn 19 as they've gone across the stripe into turn 1. Dylan looking for a late move on BJ Fulton. He's going to use the curbing, but it unsettles the back end of the 08 as they go through into turn 3. But Dylan's just tagged the wall there.
Maybe just got a little bit of understeer coming off the corner. And I think it looks like he got away with it okay in terms of damage, but it has put him off of Fulton and is now on the defense with Jad Duncan starting to rock up behind him. I was going to say that Dylan looked like he kind of needed to get by BJ because he was quicker than Michael at that one lap that we saw where he stole the fastest lap from the 127. But if he's got damage, that may have changed. We'll have to wait and see if he's lost any speed.
That's going to be the big thing. I mean, one of the good things about these new generation 992.2 Carrera Cup cars is that everyone's got the same machinery, so it makes it a little bit more equal in terms of the battles that we've had, unlike what we've seen here on the Porsche Owners Club, Joe, Yumi and Joey Adelbury. You know, we've seen GT3 versus GT4. Now we actually see everybody in the same car. And now Chris Marciniak makes a move, gets through on the number 6 of John Mamea, and that is a change for P7.
Nicely done. That'll put him back to where he started this race. Lemeyer's now down 1. He's still got Dustin Heindel doing a good job making up for that early spin up to 9th position. But look at how tight it is coming off of 16 and into 17. But once again, John just spinning the rear tires as we head back to Fulton. And it looks like Scott, who initially had a chance at trying to sneak by, decided to back out of it.
Yeah, I think it was just a glancing blow for Dylan Scott there, so he hasn't really lost much in terms of speed as they're going to come across the stripe as we are 7 minutes to go, and we're now on to effectively lap 5 of the lap 6 of this race. So the laps are quickly going by, but you're going to see that Dylan gets a real good run coming out of 1 into 2 and then into 3. This time he doesn't use as much curbing as he did last time around, which saw him clatter the wall with the left rear quarter panel. And so now he's able just to dial it up a little bit of intensity to try and close on. And you can see that Dylan's a little bit more comfortable in the flowing corners in this car.
Seems to be where he shines. Let's see how he does coming off of a slow exit onto a fast straightaway, which is what he really needs here to catch up to BJ. And I don't think he really got any sort of edge over him. The good news is that it seems like Jad has maybe fallen off a little bit, so he's no longer worried about what's behind. He can focus forward. He's going to need to be a little bit closer, I fear.
Yeah, and here goes Dylan, showing his nose to BJ. I mean, these two guys have been battling each other all the way through the 2025 season here on the Global SimRacing Channel. And more to the point, it just also goes to show how quickly things can change, as Dustin Heindel also looking to stick his nose up the inside of John Mamea. This is the battle for P8 on the road. Let's not forget that Dustin did start down in 12th, didn't set a lap time in the qualifying session as he nearly glances the wall there as they go through into turn 13 and over the crest, which caught out a couple of drivers in Formula 1, including Max Verstappen and Lando Norris to boot in the inaugural Miami F1 Grand Prix. But John Mamea's got Dustin Heindel bump drafting him all the way down, and here we go. Heindel to the inside on the run through. Can he catch the side draft here, more importantly, Joe?
Not sure he needs to, because he's passed, really late on the brakes from John. Question is, can he make the corner? That's a no. And he does try to get the exit off of it, which he does pretty well. And he goes over the curb to the inside. I fear he may have to give that time back. Yes, he's got a black flag for having cut the course, so he will need to slow down and try to give that time back. He still looks to the inside down into turn 1. But don't forget, Dustin Heindel didn't just start from last. He spun on the first lap. So this is an impressive drive out of him. He's already attacking Marciniak as well.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that with the new cars that everyone's come up with some slightly different liveries, but that is going to be more than likely a slowdown penalty for Dustin Heindel. He just completely cut the track there as they came through out of turn 7 and into turn 8. So, but meantime, Dylan Scott with a head full of speed right behind BJ Fulton switches to the outside. And can the Aussie get through? Not quite.
He's trying to switch back on him, but it looks like BJ was wise to that one. The more they start battling, whoa, as he starts to lose control, and he's going to face backwards at a track that is already narrow. He'll have a heck of a time getting that thing turned around.
That's allowed. Well, yeah, he's the left-hand side completely against the wall, and now he's got to wait and hold it. That's going to allow Dustin Heindel, who's now up to P7, still battling away with Chris Marciniak. And Dylan, come on, Dylan, just get the car rotated around. It's
no, he's gone.
No, he's gone.
That's yeah. I was going to say you have to be careful if you drive backwards on the track too far. The sim will automatically DNF you, disqualify you. So that's why he popped away. He just went a little bit too far and discovered the wrath of the automatic stewards. In the meantime, this is Del Toro chasing on Duncan, popped up one position by the loss of Scott in this race. Can he make it to the podium? Because he's only less than a second behind Duncan.
Yeah, and the time is counting down, Joe. Coming to just under 3 minutes left of the first of 2 races tonight here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. But it's great to, with the holiday season in full swing, it's nice for the drivers just to have a little bit of fun and sample something new. There's been a lot of positivity with this new 992.2 Cup car. It was Dustin Heindel looking to the inside of... how close was that when Chris Marciniak just kept it pinned to the outside and cut Dustin Heindel's nose off despite his face there a little bit.
It is interesting that Dustin seemed to really slice through most of the field, and again, he looks so much quicker, but Chris is absolutely holding his ground, and I mean, fair play. Dustin is up against a current reigning champion, albeit in a much more different car than what they're running currently, so he's still a fast driver, even if he might not be as used to running these 911 Cup machines. Again, back and forth across the track. Dustin is really trying to search out where is an opening.
Well, he nearly lost the back end of that 117 Cup car at that time because it just bumped over the curbs. The back end was in the air and he nearly spun it around, but there has been a spin, and that was Rob Leclerc.
Gets it going, and more importantly, got it out of the way in time over perhaps the only blind crest of the entire lap around here. It is quite flat, which is normal for Florida, frankly. Let's see if we get a change of position between Dustin and Chris coming down to the braking of turn 17. Dustin's to the inside. Chris maybe could pull an over-under if he times it right, depending on how deep Dustin goes. And no, he is not able to do so, as Heindel will move into 5th.
Yeah, so final lap now indicated as... So we're going to have a replay of what happened to Rob Leclerc in the top right through turn 13. Bang, there's the curbing, unsettles the right-hand side, 2 wheels in the air, and round she goes. But like you said, Rob Leclerc smacks the barrier inadvertently, and then straight away there's Marciniak and Heindel they're battling away for position, and Rob get it pointed in the right direction. So well held, apart from the front-end damage that car sustained.
So Michael Bolton leading on the final lap with about half a lap left to go in 3.5 seconds over BJ Fulton. But let's not forget, they're going to reverse the grid after this. So that's going to mean that he's going to have to start from the very back. Can he be as successful? And what about Fulton and Duncan here, because Duncan has stepped up, even though Dylan Scott got DQ'd, and is going to try to take that second away from BJ Fulton. He almost has it. He's got the inside coming into the chicane. Can they hold on to it? Oh, and BJ has to cut the course. Will he have to give the position back?
Yeah, that would definitely be a slowdown penalty in my books there, Joe, to be completely honest with you. And that has brought in Federico Del Toro, as it's got very, very close indeed, but more to the point, they're coming down towards turn 17 for the final time, and Michael Bolton, he got the whole shot he needed, and now this is the opportunity. There we go, Chad Duncan through on BJ Fulton, who's just served a slowdown penalty, but it's going to be the run to the line. Bolton going to take the first win here at Miami.
Victory for the 127 as he crosses the line, while behind him the battle is settled by a slowdown penalty in the end. Chad Duncan with second. BJ Fulton, if he had held on for it just a little bit longer, could have had that P2. Still a third, not too shabby. And how about Dustin Heindel to the line in fifth after starting in 12th today? So he'll get shuffled back just a couple positions with the regrid. But as we've seen, he doesn't need much to be able to make some passes here.
No, but the interesting thing with the full reverse grid, it means that Dylan Scott's on pole for the second race coming up. Good showing by Jim Garamani, who's going to finish in 9th. Mark Rondo is going to be starting P3, so he finishes 10th. And then Larry Haas will finish in 11th, which means it'll be Dylan Scott versus Larry Haas on the front row for our inverted reverse grid for the 25-minute feature race here at Miami, Joe. This could be interesting.
I hadn't even thought of that until you mentioned so that Dylan's going to get regrid at the front. Michael Bolton, though, will get regrid at the back as he takes the win in the sprint race. It was Chad Duncan second, BJ Fulton third, and Federico Del Toro in fourth. Dustin Heindel climbed up 7 spots for a P5, with Marciniak in 6th. Leclerc eventually went back to 7th with a late spin, and John Momar was 8th with Garamani 9th, Mark Rondeau in 10th. Larry Haas will be 11th, and Dylan Scott was 12th in the end. So that was a fun little jaunt, but now we have an even longer one with a 25-minute race coming up here, our feature. And if we want to take a look at the race details on that one, if you missed the first one, it's pretty much the same thing, just with a different race length. So about 10 minutes more time for our drivers. They do still have unlimited spare cars, and the good news is Dylan Scott is going to be allowed to grid up despite being taken out of the first race to a DQ.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the other good things is by having this standing start, it means that everyone's got a different.
Sorry, well, he moved, and I think that's going to make a black flag. It is a black flag at the start. Now, will they clear that black flag as he actually allows everybody to go by here down to the first corner, which causes a 4-wide situation, and Molmeyer getting spun around. Oh, my goodness. And Leclerc loses the front of the car in the process.
The left side door was actually open due to the impact for Robert Leclerc there. But, yeah, I mean, talk about insult to injury, getting DQ'd in the first race, then doing a jump start in race 2. That is not how Dylan Scott wanted this evening to pan out. But there's more contact. Jim Garamani goes around, having made contact with Chad Duncan, who's also spun the back end. Well, they do say that inverted full grids does cause a little bit of cat amongst the pigeon situations, Joe, and that's what we've seen.
I'd say so. It's a battle for the lead, meanwhile, coming up into turn 11. Rondeau versus Haas. Haas may have started on the front row, but he wants to try and lead the overall race, especially since his rival got that black flag under braking. He can't quite get there in time as behind him. Some action between Heindel and Garamani leaves Heindel at the side of the road.
Well, that was a bit too close for comfort for Dustin. I mean, he's back to where he started on the grid in 7th position, but there's more drama up ahead. Oh dear, Larry Haas has been given insult to injury there in the number 12. He's all the way down the order and has dropped down to 7th as a result of that turn. He's trying to do a J turn here as well. Come on, Larry, get it together. No. Oh dear. It's just gone from madness in the first race to mayhem in the second.
It's been a little bit of chaos, but it is a fun race, so I hope they're having fun out there. It certainly has been entertaining to watch. Is down to the braking zone. That is Garamani versus Fulton. Fulton comes out ahead, and it is Scott who sits in second. He does still have the black flag. Now, I believe they were trying to remove the black flag manually in the sim here, but it is not showing as having gone away, as that was a deep one from Garamani, and that was never going to make the corner.
Yeah, and I think I even saw Michael Bolton tag the wall coming out of turn 18 behind Dylan Scott. So, yeah, that's... we've still got 22 and a half minutes to go, Joe. I don't know how this race is going to pan out. It is a fun one to close out 2025 before developments happen for, you know, the Porsche Owners Club Sim Racing League for 2026. We've got a replay of the start coming up. As oh, that was Garamani going around. So this is into turn 1. So you got John Mamay around the outside, gets a little bit of a touch from Rob Leclerc, and then oh well, I don't know what Rob was doing there. I thought he would have hit the brakes, and he's accidentally hit the gas pedal.
And to be fair, it was just the lightest of touches that started sending Momai around from what it looked like on that replay. So I get the feeling that was could have gone a lot better than it did. It was just the luck of the draw, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Michael Bolton sitting in third, probably going to wind up in second, because I'm still showing a black flag for Dylan Scott, even though they've tried to clear it to allow him to be able to race here. If the sim still shows a black flag, he has, I believe it's 4 laps to try and serve it. After that, he'll again be DQ'd. So I hope he serves it, so we don't have a double DQ for our current reigning champion.
Well, I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's meant to be a fun race, but there's still that competitive spirit. As to the outside of Mark Rondo goes Dylan Scott. And Dylan's going to try and see if he's got the inside line, but he hasn't. Here comes Michael Bolton. Oh, my goodness me, that was close.
I think they actually did bang doors there, and Dylan's going to carry on. He's not going to serve it this time by. Bolton remains in third. He takes a peek down to the inside, but decides against it, braking into turn 1. But Michael Bolton with the fastest lap of the race. Another look, this time from Dylan Scott on Rondeau, trying to take the lead away at turn 2. That doesn't pan out, but he's clearly fast and he knows it.
Yeah, it's just about the case of judging the best place. I mean, the walls are quite close here at the Miami International Autodrome, and now to the inside through, this is going to be at turns 4 to 7, and Rondeau still keeping his nose ahead of Dylan Scott. Michael Bolton's just waiting for his opportunity, and look, BJ Fulton's not too far behind this, as they're going to go now down through turns 8 to 11 at high speed. And Dylan Scott, he's looking left, he's looking right. He's going to the outside in towards the left-hander, and Dylan Scott has gotten through. Here comes Michael Bolton with a head of speed. Is he going to make it possibly 3 wide into turn 11? He nearly thought about it. And Scott's taken the lead into turn 11, and Michael Bolton just ahead, but Dylan Scott runs deep into the corner. Bolton around the outside of Rondeau, and here comes BJ Fulton with a head of steam, as they're now going to head into this unsettling part of the circuit here at turn 13. And well, BJ Fulton got some proper errors, did Dustin Heidel in the background. Oh, contact with the wall coming out of 14 by Mark Rondeau there.
And I think Dylan went wide because he actually got a little help from Bolton coming into the corner, just outbraked himself and nudged the back of the car. So all that momentum right into the back of the 08. Mark Rondeau, sandwiched between them, tries to slam the brakes in time, but goes a little far down into turn 17. And that's going to give it up and allow Michael Bolton to sneak by. Dylan Scott stays out, and I'm wondering if that's going to mean we're going to see him disappear. It looks like it's given him one more lap for the time being.
Yeah, and BJ Fulton, in the meantime, when Michael Bolton got through on Mark Rondeau, then BJ took, did not need a second of hesitation to take that. So he's got himself up into P3. Dustin Heidel, once again, showcasing that you can have a spin on the first lap of the first race of the night and still bring it back home. So it could be 2 successive top 5 finishes, but it depends on, with 18 and a half minutes to go here, Joe. We're still early days in this feature race here at Miami. As Rondeau to the inside of BJ Fulton, little bit of a touch right front to left rear, And that has allowed Dustin Heindel to go, thank you very much, I'll take fourth.
Could it be third? Because both of them are slowed up. Great catch by both drivers, I gotta say. Thought we were going to see a spin from each of them, but somehow both managed to save it. A look to the inside from Dustin Heindel. Is this job done? They're going to be wheel to wheel on the way into the braking, and Dustin is onto the podium.
Yeah, but it just depends on how much speed that BJ decides to try and carry through the next set of corners. It's very, very tight. But, you know, it's great to see these 992.2 Cup cars being able to stretch their legs to nearly 170 miles an hour down the back stretch, coming out of turn number 16. And that's the thing. You and I both know, because we do commentary for our respective championships, me in Continental Europe, you in North America. When you hear a 4-litre flat six Carrera Cup car flying at full velocity, it's one of the most glorious noises in motorsport.
These things scream. Yeah, they're a lot louder, I think, than people realize, and they sound incredible. But Dylan Scott crosses the line in the lead, as unfortunately he is about to disappear, as I see the DQ pop up on his next to his name for the time being. Oh, is it okay? It looks like
no. It's been got. It's been the black flag's been waved. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so they either it had a delay or they managed to figure out how to save it before something happened. Somebody's spinning there, and I didn't quite make out who it was. Looks like it's Rondeau. Yeah,
looks like he's picked up a little bit of damage to the rear bumper of the car, but he was lucky to get away with that one. So we can have a replay. Oh, Chris Marciniak. So this is going to be with the contact between him and Chad Duncan, and then it's synchronized spinning by the pair.
Thankfully, there's a lot of paved runoff with this being a modern F1 track. Dustin with BJ Fulton fighting him for P3 now. Dustin on the inside, Fulton on the outside. It is a game of chicken on the brakes down into turn 7. Or turn 11 rather, and as they hit that corner, it looks like Heindel has got the edge.
He's really, he looks to be getting a lot more comfortable. That confidence is building in the car as we're heading into 13 and 14, and again you can just see the amount of air that Dustin Heindel just gets by walloping that inside curb, and then it's, you know, coming through into 15 and 16, and now it's going to be, you know, who's going to be able to stretch the legs on these particular chariots, and it looks to be the case that Dustin Heindel is expanding that gap, but BJ Fulton is getting a little bit of draft coming down the back straightaway, heading in towards a heavy braking zone here for turn 17, and that gap has come down to around about 0.3 of a second, and that's one of the things I like about one make series, Joe, that when you have everyone in the same car, everyone's in the same boat. It's always about how quick the drivers can go, and as we see, Dylan Scott, new fastest lap of the race, 156.7. I think he did a 156.2 in the opening race earlier on.
Yeah, he's obviously very quick in that car. Ooh, great exit out of 2 into 3 by BJ Fulton. I thought he was going to have the position, but Heindel slams the door shut as quickly as he can. Jack Duncan now going quicker than Dylan Scott as well, as he takes the fastest lap of the race. But Dustin Heindel, can he get a chance to try and chase down Bolton here? Can he actually shake BJ?
Well, with the gap now expanding at well over 6 seconds, and we are about a minute and a half away from half time here, Joe. It might be a tall order for Dustin, but if he can keep BJ Fulton at bay for the remainder of this race, he'll have done a pretty good job to secure that third place. And you can just see that with the overspeed you get in these cars, and BJ goes towards the outside, it's going to be once again bravery on the brakes, and to the inside once again goes Dustin Heindel and retains that place for the moment, but it's BJ that gets the traction out of the corners.
Switching back now into the chicane. We've seen the cars really attack that curb. It looks like this could be down to who gets a better exit, because the slipstream is going to allow BJ to catch back up, but he did not get the run that he would have wanted on that 117. Will we see a defensive line from Dustin Heindel? He has the track open to his left-hand side. He starts to fade across there, Is a little bit too late. No, BJ is going to decide to try to go to the outside. He stays on the racing line, sends it in as far as it'll go, tries to get the launch off the corner, is actually pretty good with it.
It's pretty even on the traction from both drivers as BJ's going to get the inside line towards the stripe, gets ahead by about half a car length as they've got this very short run into the right-hander coming up at turn 1. So BJ now makes the move complete, but Dustin to the inside, using as much curb as possible, trying to get the speed through. And look how cheeky he's been coming through out of 3.
We've seen that move a couple times in this race. It must seem extremely inviting for the drivers, and it hasn't quite worked out yet. Thankfully, everybody's been pretty heads up as soon as the car sticks their nose in down to that right-hander. But it has put them a little bit offline. Coming through the S's section is a much shallower entry from Dustin Heindel. Does not really pay dividends off the exit.
And in the meantime, we've got another battle emerging as well. Jad Duncan versus Rob Leclerc, and this is the battle for P6 on the road. The gap is about 3/10 between them, so there you see them picture in picture. And Rob, after that drama on the opening lap, having contact early doors with John Mamea when he got to the inside. Oh, Dustin Heindel sneaks to the inside of BJ Fulton there. That was beautifully done by the 117.
Could not have timed that any better. He must have grazed the rear bumper. It was so close. And that has put him back into third once again. Duncan, in the meantime, on the back of Leclerc. He heads through the chicane. Now Leclerc having trouble trying to hit it, but it is so narrow through here that it looks like he does not relinquish the position. And then I believe that's Marc Rondeau in front of them. So they might have a third friend join the party.
You know what they say, two's company, three's a crowd. And Marc Rondeau better watch out if these two guys start working indirectly together. And that could help them in terms of one of them getting into the top 5 by the end of the race, as we still have 11 minutes out of this 25-minute feature race to go here at Miami. And now we've got Bolton to the outside of Heindel again. This is musical chairs at its finest when it comes to modern day motorsport. You know, one's trying to, you know, throw the Hail Mary, someone's trying to do the old Nigel Mansell dummy. You just don't know what's going to happen.
It's been a great fight, great way to wrap up 2025 for these drivers. No doubt coming away with smiles. So right on board with BJ. And again, opening up that exit a lot more than what we've been seeing from Dustin. And I feel like that's been making quite a difference, although that time he just got a little too eager on the throttle.
Well, the right rear is damaged. Looks like the car was leaning a little bit to the right-hand side. And then, well, what's happened to Michael Bolton? Now, Bolton was second. He was 8 seconds up the road, and he's lost a bag full of time. So Michael Bolton, who was running P2, as Dustin Heindel gets it all Knight Rider ski mode there. Both wheels up into the air on the left-hand side. Is now up into P2. So Michael Bolton's had a drama somewhere.
I think it was at that same corner that we saw Fulton smack the wall. In fact, I think it was the same spot from what I can see on my screen. So yeah, that cost him on his way down the straightaway. Dustin Heindel picked it up and said, you know what, I enjoyed this fighting through the field thing. I'm looking at maybe a potential win. Dylan Scott's only 2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, so I think, yeah. And now, look, what's happened to... Well, Dylan Scott, what's happened to him? Has he got a slow... Oi, 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 oi. That's a big old hit. Right rear, and that's why Michael Bolton lost all that time. It was 8 seconds was the gap between him and Dustin Heindel. And one wrong move in these 911 992.2 Cup cars, and you are a passenger. And now Dustin Heindel is leading the way.
I wonder if Dylan slowed up so that he could have a nice little fight here with Dustin. And yeah. I'm kind of glad he did, because, I mean, these are the two titans that we've been seeing. Dustin, or Dylan, we know, extremely fast from his qualifying, and Dustin being extremely fast from his races. Oh, as we get a little bit of a kerfluffle here.
That was a little bit of a fender bender, I'm afraid, there, with Marc Rondeau finding himself pointing 90 degrees to the left. Jad Duncan behind him. Rob Leclerc is also in this battle, so this is for P5 as Leclerc, with full conviction round the outside of Jad Duncan, stays in 6th for the meantime, but Jad's getting the better traction as we're now...
Are they doing a manual yellow? I think they are.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
It hasn't been thrown in the sim, but these three are all going at a slow pace and weaving between the tires. So,
but look, they've got BJ Fulton right behind them as well. This could be really interesting. And now look, you got Duncan, Rondo. I think they want to give a little bit of a show for the fans watching along on the Global SimRacing Channel at the moment. So this could be rather interesting if they do a single file restart of any kind.
This is going to be a hoot, honestly, because it's going to be something like a 6-minute sprint, essentially, at the very end. So it should be a lot of fun. And you were talking about a lot of the new features that will come with the 992.2. And my favorite, honestly, is the fact that they've dropped the GT3 and it is now simply the 911 Cup. No more having to explain to people that it's not a GT3 class car. It's a part of the naming system of Porsche, which, to be fair, they had GT3 before it became a class, but it just caused so much of a headache with fans.
Well, considering when you think about it, the Carrera Cup cars started all the way back in 1990, and the thing is that because the Cup cars are actually produced in Germany alongside the road-going counterparts on the production line, and the previous generation, I think they had just over 1,100 units produced. But now we're getting up to full racing speed, and this is where I think they decided, well, let's have at it for one final time. Dustin Heindl on the de facto restart has got the lead, but BJ Fulton coming at him with a head of steam. Dylan Scott to the inside through out of turn 19, and here comes Michael Bolton. So Dustin Heindl with 6 minutes and 10 to go leads the way. Scott to the outside here at turn 1. Is the Aussie going to get through? No, he runs a little bit deep, and it's going to be 3 wide out of turn 1.
And that means Dustin Heindl is up at the top, unfortunately... Jad Duncan gets a little bit squirrely. Excuse me, Bolton, rather. Gets a little squirrely, but Duncan does get a hit, and that's going to send him barreling across the track. He's barely avoided by many other cars. He'll get it going once again, but that was some real chaos there that could have collected so many more. In the meantime, Heindl leads Fulton, leads Rondeau, with Scott all the way to 4th.
And then we've got Rob Leclerc battling with John Mamea. Rob went a little bit wide, to be honest, but he's managed to gather it back up. But yeah, and Dylan Scott has ended up in the wall on the left-hand side and retires to the pit lane. So whether he's got quite a lot of damage to that car, but yeah, Leclerc right on the rear of Mamea, who's bump drafting him NASCAR style at the moment as they're heading into this left-handed complex coming up into the stadium section. But I mean, it's great that the drivers decided, well, we'll go with the 992.2 Cup car, and yeah, seeming as Miami's on the calendar now, let's have a go at this. And I think Rob Leclerc's lost his front bumper. He's turned it around. That's at turn 13. Jim Garamani clobbers the barriers coming out of 16, and Michael Bolton now on the rear of Mark Rondeau for P3 as BJ Fulton right behind Dustin Heindl into turn 17 for the race lead.
Looking more like Miami Homestead instead of Miami International Autodrome there for a moment. Fulton versus Heindl, wheel to wheel here, coming by the start-finish line. Just a couple laps to go as well. And Fulton with the crossover gets a great bit of speed. That'll give him the inside coming down into turn 1. Heindl doesn't fight it, and that puts BJ up into the lead.
I mean, this is why, folks, this is a non-championship event. This is just a fun race just for everyone to let off some steam on a new car, new track here on iRacing, and it definitely has provided a lot of fun for us here in commentary and production. So more to the case, it is I've been watching a lot of videos of people doing a lot of feedback about it, and one person who actually raced in Porsche Carrera Cup Canada and North America, Daniel Murad, former GT Works driver for Mercedes, he says it's one of the best cars now on the iRacing servers. He says you can turn it in, you know, it feels connected to the road, and that's why we're going to see a lot more people, I think, pick up this car and track combination in the weeks and months heading into the new year.
Yeah, it's to the point that I've seen people make memes about the amount of praise that has been happening for this car, as it looks like Rondeau is in a fight with Bolton now. I think he's going to be able to stay ahead. Oh no, Bolton's going to come back at him, but he runs out of racetrack before they hit the chicane. And yeah, in one of a meeting I had with some of the Porsche folks, they were saying how pleased they were about you know, the car getting all sorts of praise on the sim. I said, when you get a meme about how well iRacing did, you know something has gone right, because that is extremely rare.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's, you know, the thing is that if I do ever get a sim, the first car I'll pick up will be this one here, because I know that for a fact that a lot of people were using the, you know, the 992.1 was a stable part. Oh, Bolton clobbers the wall with the right side there, chasing down Rondeau, as Leclerc going toe-to-toe with Garamani. I think Rob was trying to shave some paint off the right side of the car coming out of 17. And then Jim has a little bit of a tag, but Rob all over the curbs is going to go into the barriers again. Oh dear, the front end's completely rearranged on the number 8. And then no rear wing, and look, it's like magic. Now you see me, now you don't.
For those curious, I believe that is iRacing having it set to no damage on the cars. And what that means essentially is the cars can still get damage, but they auto repair themselves. And with this being a fun race, it does make sense that they have set that, turned that off so that everybody can keep racing. And speaking of keep racing, Bolton gonna wait patiently for his friend to get going. Nope, he's gonna leave him behind.
Nope. leaves him in his wake, so to speak. But yeah, but now we've got a real battle for the lead as Dustin Heindel to the inside of BJ Fulton, who throws the Hail Mary to the outside. Heindel 2 wheels up in the air on the curbing, but this is going to be the run to the line, because it is the final lap of this race for the 25-minute feature as we go into turns 14 and 15 once again into 16, and now I would rather be in Dustin Heindel's position right now as BJ Fulton clippers the barriers coming out of 16 onto the back stretch.
Does have the toe. Can Heindel go from last in the sprint race to winning in the feature? He's got a good chance of it. Fulton's going to go full defensive all the way to the left-hand side of the track, down to the braking of turn 17. And so far, Fulton has the advantage with the inside. Is that going to seal the deal? It looks like it does. As he comes out of the last 2 turns, BJ Fulton will win the feature race here for our last race of 2025 in the POC.
Well, what a finish as well. I mean, it's just so nice when there's not a championship, there's not battle. Well, I think the thing is they're still going at full speed.
Oh, our software, yeah, I think maybe predicted a little early. I wondered about that.
Yeah,
it looks like it called. It seemed like maybe it was just a tad early. So now the clock has officially hit 0. So apologies, BJ has not won it quite yet.
No, but he's got a big enough window at the moment, unless Dustin can close up in on the twisty stuff here at Miami International Autodrome. So it is going to be the case of whether Dustin throws caution to the wind and goes for it. I mean, in a fun race, that's what you will do, as we see the battle for P3. John Mamea battling away with Chris Marciniak. So Marciniak up 4 spots, having started 7th on the grid. But again, as we get into the dying stages of this final lap here, Joe, Dustin Heindel getting tighter to the walls and trying to use that as an opportunity. So they're going to go through into 14 and 15 once again, bouncing over the curbs. And that was a bit of a good save from Dustin Heindel. And this time BJ Fulton does not clobber the barriers coming out of 16 as we go down the back stretch one more time.
Yeah, but I fear that moment for Dustin that we saw from inside the car may have put the nail in the coffin, as he's about half a second away. That's way too far back unless BJ completely botches this last heavy braking zone. And let's see if he can hit his marks in that 82. He does. although Dustin gets awful close under braking. He's so good on those long braking zones. But for sure, this time now, BJ Fulton absolutely will take the win.
Yeah. Great battle between these two, battling away over first and second position. So, let's see. So John Mamea's got a black flag penalty, and he's just spun it, and he's he's just done a Rob Leclerc as well, so that's not exactly going to help him. And then that's going to allow Michael Bolton to finish in P4. So, and Larry Haas ended up diving into pit lane before the finish. So, whoops, he got a black flag as well. So, but this is the whole point of a fun race, folks. It's just about to let off some steam, and new car, new track, everyone's getting to grips with it, and some are having a few more problems than others, but that's to be expected.
Exactly. It certainly was fun, I think, from our perspective. I'm pretty sure our drivers had plenty of fun as well. So let's go through our finishing order for the feature here today. BJ Fulton, your winner. Dustin Heindel very nearly went from last to first over the course of the two races, but still a P2 is pretty impressive. Marciniak was third, Michael Bolton was fourth, and John Momeyer was P5. Larry Haas finished sixth, followed by Garamani in seventh, Robert Leclerc in eighth, and Mark Rondeau P9. Jad Duncan unfortunately had a disconnect right at the end. His internet went out, and he wound up 10th. Dylan Scott was 11th, and Federico Del Toro did not start the feature race, unfortunately. So not sure what happened to him. Sad he couldn't make the entirety of it. This has been a great way to wrap things up, Alex, not just for the POC, but I believe this should be the last show of the year for GSRC too.
Yeah, it is indeed. So last one of the season for 2025. I think on behalf of all the team here at the Global Sim Racing Channel, we'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that has watched every single stream, whether it be the Sunday Grand Prix Series, Grand Prix Legends, IMSA Vintage. There's so much we cover here on GSRC, and I think really we all have to say one more thing. Happy New Year for 2026.
Absolutely. So we're going to close up and maybe enjoy a bit of time on the fake waterfront there here at Miami, with a big thank you as well to the POC for bringing us back for another season of coverage here in 2025. Thanks to the team today, Alex and Christian. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channels so you don't miss a moment. We'll have more shows coming up next year. Here's some upcoming races, including the Skip Barber Race Series, going to be on Thursday, January 1st, and that will be at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. If you want to tune into that, make sure and check out the other races that we have there that will be showing up at the start of 2026 as well. As you heard from Alex, we wish everybody a happy new year. Make sure and enjoy your time off. Don't party too hard, but also race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.